You ready, Lindsay? Okay. Still 8:29 now, it's 8:30. Okay. So good morning, everybody. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Board of County Commissioners for August 20th, 2024. If you join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Are there any additions to the agenda?
I have none.
Okay, the agenda will stand approved. Constituent time, is there anybody in the room that would like to address the board? Okay. Anybody online, Linda? No? Okay. We'll go on to County Clerk Terry Stevenson.
Good morning, Commissioners. I have the minutes for the August 6th regular meeting. Were there any additions, changes, or deletions?
I had none down here.
Okay, thank you. My other agenda item is an application for a Colorado liquor license sales room for DRM Holdings LTD, dealing business as Mesa Winds Winery for an off-premises consumption located at 21575 Highway 65 in Cedar Ridge. This will be on September 8th, 2024 from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. This is a tour that they're having on that date.
I'll move that the board approve the application for DRM Holdings or BBA Mesa Winds Winery for an off-premises consumption located at 21575 Highway 65 in Cedar Ridge on September 8th from 11 to 6 p.m.
Second.
Motion and second on the floor. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, so done. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll move on to commissioner business. Board's consideration of the Colorado Counties Incorporated support letter for Shoshone water rights.
Included in the packet then is a support letter that you would support CCI as they move forward with their recommendation to the Colorado River Water Conservation District effort to acquire and permanently protect the Shoshone water rights, and for the commissioners to sign.
And so this, just for clarity here, this is for the Western District of CCI. This isn't a statewide CCI agenda. This is just the Western District agenda. So,
Thank
and
you.
this is something we discussed at our last conference here. So,
And got us some Mason Roundtable and many other entities are supporting this also.
and I did see yesterday there even added some more funding promises from other entities.
Yeah.
So they're getting closer and closer to where they need to be. So.
I'll move the board approve and authorize signatures on a letter of support from CCI Western District for the Shoshone water rights preservation.
I'll second.
Motion and second on the floor. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so done. Okay, next up is to ratify the warrants.
I would love to get there, but my computer is not playing nice. There we go. I got it. There we go.
You got this?
Yeah, I got it. Maybe circle with that. I'll move that the board ratifies the warrants from the various funds. Expenditures paid by warrant numbers 151774 through 152037. And ACH transactions 791 through 817 from July 1st, 2024 through July 31st, 2024, totaling $1,845,419.05 in accounts payable and $1,767,181.75 in monthly county human services and health department July 2024 payroll for items budget approved per Delta County policy, and authorize the chairman to sign.
Second.
Motion is second on the floor. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so done. Thank you. Next up is the BOCC schedule for the next month. And Lindsay Mitchell.
Good morning. Today, after this BOCC meeting ending at 4 p.m., we have 3:30 to 5 Board of Health meeting at 560 Dodge Street. Tuesday, August 22nd, 3 to 4, we have Eva Beach retirement celebration in Montrose. Friday, August 23rd, 10 to 2 p.m., CCI Western District meeting in Meeker. Thursday, August 29th, 7:30 to 8:30 a.m. Coffee with Commissioner Mike Lane at Peel Coffee House. That is a public event. Monday, September 2nd, all day, the Delta County offices will be closed for Labor Day. Tuesday, September 3rd, we will have our next Board of County Commissioners scheduled meeting. That's from 8:30 to noon here at 560 Dodge Street. They also from 6 to 8 p.m. it's the public party meeting. Tuesday, September 17th is the next Board of Commissioners meeting 8:30 to 12. And 3:30 to 5 is Board of Health. September 18th, 9 to 1:30 is AG&C Colburn Board meeting. That location is to be determined. Tuesday, September 24th, we have 1 to 2, a work session for the Delta County nonprofits, and that's here at 560 Dodge Street.
I missed the one at the Presbyterian Church,
The Service Creek Church.
Service Creek.
That was just the Republican Party.
Oh,
So just, it was mentioned the Eva Beach retirement. Just so everybody knows, Eva works for Region 10 and she has been the area agency on aging coordinator for quite a while now. And she has done a lot for our seasoned citizens in this county. Many times I get a call from somebody needing some help and I could send them Eva's way and she took care of them. So just give kudos. If you guys see her, just give her a thanks because she's done a lot for citizens in this area. So.
And a lot of funding for her programs has dried up too. The state has really not supported them like you would think they would.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's the 22nd on Thursday at 3 o'clock, and that is at the Camp Robber in Montrose. Okay. Thank you, Lindsay. Okay, I'll read the jail report for Monday, August 12th, Delta County Detention Facility Population Count Report. Male inmates, County Jail 30, female inmates, County Jail 6, male inmates, Department of Corrections 4, female inmates, Department of Corrections 1, for a total of 41. The average daily inmate population for the week of 8/5/24 through 8/12/24 was 50.28. Monday, August 19th, 2024, Delta County Detention Facility Population Count Report. Male inmates, County Jail 30, female inmates, County Jail 5, male inmates, Department of Corrections 5, female inmates, Department of Corrections 1, for a total of 41. The average daily inmate population for the week of 8/12/24 through 8/19/24 was 50.27. Next up at 9 o'clock, we'll have the West Region Wildlife Council presentation. Wildfire Council, what did I say?
You said wildlife.
Oh, well, it's wild something. At 9 o'clock. So we will stand in recess until 9 o'clock.
Very good.
Okay, welcome back. Now we have Leah Robertson from the West Region Wildfire Council presentation. Go ahead and take it off. Thank
Did
you.
I pull this over close?
You betcha.
Please.
Okay, great. Well, first of all, thanks for having me here. I'm the Partnership and Collaboration Director for West Region Wildfire Council. Let me know if this seems right. It seems echoey to me. It's okay?
Yeah,
Okay, great. I don't talk in microphones that often. So what I'd like to do is talk a little bit about what we've done this year, tiny bit about what we did last year. And if you have any questions at any time, just jump in and I'd be glad to answer them. Go ahead. Oh, or if you have a clicker for me, let me know. Okay, awesome. So just, I know some of you are familiar with us, but just in case you've forgotten, what we do is try to increase resilience to wildfire and decrease wildfire risk in the 6 Region 10 counties in Western Colorado. And we do that through a bunch of different programs. One is our free site visits. So any home or property owner in Delta County or the other 5 counties can call us, go on our website, sign up for a free site visit. I'll talk a little bit more about the details of that, as we go through the presentation. We also have a vegetation management program, so we can help people, our foresters can go out, assuming they qualify, and say, it'd be great if you could do these things to make your property more resistant to wildfire. They can even mark trees or give a property owner a prescription for what trees should be removed or limbed up to 10 feet to reduce their wildfire danger. We also do something called rapid wildfire risk assessments, and that's where we do a quick drive up to a house, take just a minute or two to look at things like, what is the roof made out of? What are the fuels like in the area? What other dangers are there? And give it a score. I'll also talk more about that later. We can also go into neighborhoods as they're interested and give them advice on the same things. We can do also detailed community assessments if we have the time and the grant funding to do that. In addition, we do cross-boundary facilitation. So we work with partners like with the BLM and Forest Service to do things across public and private lands. And we also have a new wildfire ready home program. So I'll be talking about that today. And here's our staff. I'll just briefly go from left to right. We've got Brad Eckert, who's a forester, Jamie Gomez, who's our executive director, because we are a 501c3 nonprofit. Aaron Johnson is our wildfire mitigation specialist. As I said, I'm the partnership and collaboration director. Danny Duda is our GIS person. Lilia Falk is our director of HR, finances and agreements. Can't see Josh there, but Josh Hansen is another forester. And go ahead and click. And we just hired Simi Alexander as our finance and program assistant. So she's helping Lilia. So I mentioned rapid wildfire risk assessments. We do have a new page on our website where you can look and zoom in and see all the places we've done rapid wildfire risk assessments over the years. So like a red dot means there's extreme fire danger for that home. Green dot means low. And so as I mentioned, we're looking at the houses just really quickly. Sometimes folks like Chris here or Evan can help, or fire chiefs. And we're looking at things like, what's the roof made out of? Is it metal, real resistant to fire, or is it shake shingle and it's gonna burn really easily? We look, do they have a bunch of firewood right next to the house, which could, catch embers and set the structure on fire? What are the walls made of? What is the deck made of? Or if there's any openings, are they covered with mesh screens so embers can't get into the house and start a fire? What do the trees look like in the area? Is there only one road in and out of that house if there's a fire? Is their driveway wide enough so fire trucks can get in and turn around and get out safely? So those are the kind of things we rate the homes on. And then one thing you probably know about, we've been working with Evan and Carrie at GIS. We're trying to figure out how you guys could do rapid wildfire risk assessments. And Carrie and the folks decided it would be great to use our platform because it's already set up. That way, the data you collect will match with what we already have historically in Delta County. So you guys can use your own tablets to collect that data using our system. we house the data, but you have total access to the data. You can make reports, use it how you want. So that's something we've worked on this year. Go ahead. And here's just a map of all the interactions we've had over time since 2011 in Delta County. Go ahead and click one more time because I did a zoom in because it's hard to see. So this is kind of near the Cedar Edge area. So it shows the rapid wildfire risk assessments, which have those, as it shows their green, yellow, orange, and red dot based on what the danger is to the house. If it's a pink house or a red dot, that means we've done a site visit there, which takes about an hour. And there's a few green trees on there. They're hard to see because usually they're kind of under the dots, but that shows where there's a vegetation management treatment. And then what we've done across all 6 counties last year, we did 169 site visits. So those take about an hour. Aaron goes around to the homeowner and does that. We also did over 1,000 rapid wildfire risk assessments in the 6-county region last year. Go ahead. We had 63 different community and partnership activities. Those could be things like we're involved in a lot of collaboratives. So you probably know about GUMWORP, the Grand Mesa Watershed Resiliency Partnership. I have to think about it because there's so many acronyms in my head. So we've been involved with that since the beginning a couple years ago. We've met with groups, from the Forest Service, Colorado Parks and Wildlife, landowners, et cetera, talking about what would be good treatments to do kind of north of that Cedar Edge area, because the Forest Service is mainly interested in what's within about 2 miles from the Forest Service boundary. We're hoping they'll get some money someday to help fund that. It's a little more up in the air than it was for a while, but things always change with the administrations. We did help write a Wildfire Ready Action Plan grant for the whole kind of Grand Mesa area. So we're hoping we get that. We should find out in December of this year. And if we do, what that'll look at, it'll help do a really detailed analysis, looking at where are the places it'd be good to do treatments ahead of time. So if we get a fire, it minimizes the post-wildfire damage, things like trying to prevent flooding, mud flows, debris flows, sedimentation of reservoirs, things like that. So we'd have a list of detailed actions we could do ahead of time, and also what could be done to a certain extent during and after a fire to prevent more damage. So hopefully we'll get that grant. Let's go back just a second. Sorry, that's okay. So we also treated over 1,100 acres in the 6 county areas. And sometimes it might not seem a lot because like when the Forest Service or BLM is treating acres, they've got a lot of ground. It's just a single landowner. Once they have their NEPA, they can just do it. But we're working with lots of landowners. So sometimes those acres are like 1 acre at a time, 2 acres at a time, 5 acres at a time. And it's just a lot of work and administration to deal with that many people. So even though it might not seem like a lot of acres, we're making a lot of difference for those individual landowners or communities to reduce the wildfire risk. Go ahead. So what we've done in Delta County to date, it was the year of 12s for some reason. So we've done 12 of those 1-hour-long site visits for homeowners. We've done 12 rapid fire risk assessments. Here's a slight difference. We had 20 attendees at a contractor's showcase. And what that is once we do a site visit, if people qualify for our vegetation management program, we write up a prescription for their land in a lot of detail. We put that on our website. We tell different contractors, forestry contractors about that, and we have a showcase. So on that date, the contractors come to Delta County, they look at all the different projects, they can ask questions, and then they have more information to bid on those projects. So that's what the contractor showcase is. And then to date, we have 12 vegetation management projects in the queue in Delta County for 62.1 acres. So those should get completed in 2024. And then we'll have another batch B in November. It closes November 3rd. So any people who are still going to get site visits, we probably have a bunch in the queue to do the rest of the year between now and November 3. If they qualify, they can apply for our vegetation management program. So we'll probably have some more folks who want to do veg management after November 3. Go ahead. And then we've also done a bunch of collaborative activities in Delta County. So Aaron met with the Aspen Hills Homeowners Association in March to talk about how they can reduce their wildfire risk. We had a partnership meeting in April. This is kind of a cool one. So on April 30th, we had a potential operational delineation workshop. And in case you're not familiar, are you guys familiar with pods? If I can just go over it just as a reminder. Basically, they're a place where, fire experts, whether Forest Service, BLM, Chris and Evan, or local fire chiefs decide there's a good chance of holding a fire, like a fire line. So they might be roads, they might be rivers, they might be cliffs, it might be an old burn where there's, not a lot of fuel. So the Forest Service figured out where pods should be on the GMUG, but then there was all this private land in Delta County where there were no pod lines. And so we worked with the Colorado Forest Restoration Institute and local fire experts. We first of all had just a Zoom call about what are pods in very detail, a lot of details. And then we met in person. Actually, I wasn't at that meeting. I was at the Ridgeway meeting. It was actually a lot of fun. Hopefully the Delta one was too, to try and figure out where those pod lines are in Delta County on private or local land or state land. And I'll show you a picture of that in a minute. We also attended one of the Community Wildfire Protection Plan meetings. I mentioned that Delta County showcase, and then we attended a meeting of the Delta County Fire Chiefs, and your OEM department was there to talk about what we've done, and also the whole GIS thing and how it would work out the rapid wildfire risk assessments. So go ahead and click, please. And so here's just a map of, the light blue is where the pods are on the GMUG in Delta County. And then the green is what got filled in at that workshop by all the local fire experts. So now there's all those potential control lines. And then another potential next step is, if we want to, either during the CWPP process or just some other meetings, we could decide what we want to do within those pods. So for example, on the south end of the county, if there's a pod that's going to send sage-grouse habitat, we'd want to exclude fire there because that's going to destroy habitat for a threatened species, and the Fish and Wildlife Service wouldn't like that. Other pods, maybe it's an area where it's mainly ponderosa pine forest. It hasn't had a natural fire in a while. Ponderosa pines are actually healthier if they get fires like every 15 years or so. And if it was in a place where there weren't any houses at risk, we had good control lines, the weather was just perfect, there were plenty of firefighters available, it might be a place where we might want to let it burn. Sometimes that is good for the forest and good to prevent future wildfires. So you can decide different things about what happens within those pods. That's a potential. Go ahead. So then I mentioned briefly our Wildfire Ready Home program. We just started that this year. It's a chance for homeowners to get their home certified, and I'll explain that more in a little bit. They would have to meet certain standards. And the reason why we're doing this program partly is to give homeowners peace of mind. It could increase their property value if they can say, hey, this has been mitigated to prevent risk from wildfire. And one of the big reasons is we're hoping to prevent the cancellation of people's insurance, because that's getting to be a big thing in Colorado. I'll explain more about that too. And we also want to reduce any barriers to mitigation, and that launched in May of this year. So with that process, first of all, the homeowner requests a site visit. The Wildfire Ready Home assessor schedules that visit. They meet with the property owner. I mentioned that takes about an hour. And Aaron looks at a lot of different things. I kind of mentioned some of those. They're similar to the rapid risk assessment. What's the siding made of? Is their deck enclosed to prevent embers from going underneath and catching leaves under there on fire? A lot of different things. And then the homeowner receives information about wildfire mitigation best practices. And so it's actually a 42-point assessment during that site visit. And then that information is collected on an app, and that feeds right into a report that the homeowner gets later. Go ahead. And so also during that site visit, we talk about other things, you know, evacuations, your Genesis system. We ask if people are signed up for emergency alerts. We can answer questions about insurance. We recommend people create a home inventory of what they'd want to take if they had to evacuate, and ideally have a go bag ready. Like I've got a backpack that I stopped using and I filled that with all my important stuff so I can just grab that and run out of the house. Talk about risks from smoke, forest health, and local resources, and like how to get your pets and livestock out and to be ready for that. Go ahead. So at the site visit, the homeowner receives a very detailed report after that. The homeowner will also get access to an online portal where they can track what they've done, because we'll give them recommendations and they can check off, yes, we did that. They can add photos of what they've done. And then, as I mentioned, some properties may qualify for a vegetation management program. You know, so if you only have like one tree that has to come out, you're not going to qualify for a program. It's not really worth all the time and effort it takes us. You can just hire a tree service and have them cut the tree down, or maybe you can do it yourself if you're qualified. But, you know, if you have a little more work to be done, you might qualify for a program. Go ahead. And so with our vegetation management program, most commonly, we can provide up to 75% of the cost to get like trees removed or trees limbed up through that program. It can be used to create defensible space around a house or for your entire lot. It starts with the site visit. And another new thing we have this year is what we call equity tracks. So in the past, you know, normally with our old program, the homeowner would have to pay upfront the contractor, and then we'd reimburse them for part of that cost. But some people don't have that much money available. So now we have a new track. People have to fill out an application to see if they qualify, where we could cover that upfront cost and they could pay that back over time. And then we also have another track if people really need to get the work done and they have like no money to do it. Again, they could fill out an application, show they have need of that, they don't have the financial resources. And again, if we have the money and the manpower, we could do that project for 100%. We pay the cost. Go ahead. And so talked about the process a little bit, that, you know, the people have to complete certain activities to get their home certified, not all 42, but the most important ones. And then when they say, okay, we've got those things done, Erin will come out and check that. Then the homeowner can get their certificate that says their home is wildfire ready. And if the homeowner wants, they can provide that to the insurance company. So for example, if the insurance company is talking about dropping them, hopefully that would help. And if the insurance company is still not sure, Erin is willing to talk to them and explain the program in detail and why it's really going to help reduce the wildfire risk to that home. Okay, and so you might wonder how we started this. We did talk with folks in the Aspen area and the Boulder area because they have programs similar to this. And we also looked at a lot of different existing fire recommendations. So this is from the Society for Fire Protection Engineers, National Wildfire Coordination Group, Insurance Institute for Home and Business Safety, and the International Code Council. So that's where we decided, okay, these are the most important activities someone has to do to protect their home. Go ahead. And so there's 37 different items that need to be mitigated. Some things may already be done on newer homes, and you just check off the box because it's already good. Other things you might have to do. And most new construction will meet the standard. If it's an older home, you might have a little more work to do. And the reason we're doing this program, because it really does work. I mean, we saw like in Lahaina on the upper left, I mean, those people weren't trying to reduce wildfire hazard, but they did things that to protect their home. Like they had a great roof. They cleared, you know, anything from 5 feet close to the house. That's really important to have that 0 to 5 foot zone clear of anything flammable. And they did some other things that made their home survive where others didn't. And on the picture on the right, that's from the Green Mountain Fire. We've probably showed this to you before. That's near Placerville, Colorado. I don't know if I can show this. I was thinking I might have a mouse and I can show you hopefully you can hear me, but, so this home right here was mitigated by us. The home to the right wasn't. I'll get back to the mic. So 2 years before, the one home I pointed out, they went through our site visit program. They went through our vegetation management program. They did the stuff. And the home to the right, they didn't do anything. And so when this fire came through, the home that did the mitigation by us had no damage at all. The home to the right did have damage because they had trees right up to the house that caught fire. And I actually talked with some firefighters not too long ago who were on that fire. And they also said, if we see a home that's mitigated, you know, we can get in safely with our fire trucks, we can get out, we think there's a chance of saving it, that's the home we're gonna go to. Whereas if we see a home that's like surrounded by trees or it's not safe to get in there, we're just gonna pass that one by. And that was from the fire guys, you know, so just another reason to mitigate property. Go ahead. And we do have the endorsement of support from a lot of different local agencies. And this is like an older slide. There's probably more who have provided their support. So you'll have to forgive us if we're missing some. So it was launched in May. We want to keep working with insurers to let them know about our program. We want to train more assessors. We're going to start training some folks from Crested Butte this September. They're kind of like our guinea pigs. We're going to see how that goes. And then we hope to do more of that next year. We're working with realtors to promote the program. I did speak to Delta County Realtors, I think last year, about our programs in general. I was supposed to meet with them this September. That got canceled by the realtors, but we're still going to try for another date. We want to have additional homeowners resources. We hope to get more funding. We're hoping to certify our first batch of homeowners soon. We also want to have a contractor marketplace. So when we tell people, okay, you need to get your soffit enclosed, or you should add some, you know, mesh wire along the bottom of your deck. If they can't do it themselves, we want to have a list of people who can do it. And then we'll also be doing some data analysis. Go ahead. And what we want to do with the data analysis, you know, at West Region is have a map where, okay, this home, you know, doesn't meet the standard, another home partially meets it, and this home fully meets the standard. So that'll be data that we'll have, and we'll have that mapped out for ourselves. And we can share some of that, not the details about individual homeowners, but just in general with partners. Go ahead. So there's a lot of different aspects to this program that we're managing. I won't go through them all, but just to let you know, it does take a fair amount of time and effort on our part to do everything we need to do to have this program going. Go ahead. And, you know, so some of the constraints are just our capacity to do all those things, which is why we're hoping to, you know, train fire chiefs and others to be able to help with this program. Go ahead. And go ahead and click one more time. I'd love to see if there's some information you'd like to share with West Region, or questions you have, anything along those lines. Yeah, any burning questions?
I just a comment, you know, up here in the Cedar Ridge area, we've got a lot of people that are in that zone.
Yeah, right.
Probably the more concentrated area in the whole county.
Yeah.
And I do know it's a challenge because some of those residents, they like living in the trees. They
Sure.
like, and so I appreciate you guys' effort. And I know sometimes you fight a losing battle because, you know, the aesthetics of the home with the trees is more important to them than the possibility of losing house and a wildfire.
Right, yeah, exactly. And you may know that we did send out a postcard or a letter, I can't remember which one it was last year, to all the homeowners in the Cedar Ridge area saying, we are going to come around and do these rapid wildfire risk assessments. And they have the option of like getting all the details of how we rated their house. Like, it's like about 13 different factors. And if you rated good on the roof or bad on the roof, and if you rated good on the vegetation around your home or bad on the vegetation. And we also said, say you can sign up for a site visit and learn about the vegetation management. And we also sent out a letter, pretty sure it's already gone out this year, if you, yeah, to homeowners in key areas. Because, you know, you guys are helping us with funding to help as match for that ILG grant we got, incentives for local governments. And so that was part of that program to, you know, we talked with Evan and other folks to say, you know, find out what are the key areas of risk you see in Delta County. And so we targeted that letter to those folks, again, just saying, you know, we've got the free site visits, we've got funding to help with vegetation management. So, you know, we hope you all get in touch with us and schedule a site visit.
Leah, you mentioned that the funding for the Grand Mesa Resiliency is not set, I thought.
Yeah. Yeah, so originally, you know, he was like, you know, it looks like we're gonna have funding in the fall of this year. One of the things that happened since that time, I think it was just this spring, the Forest Service found out that most of the funding is going to certain areas that were predetermined across the country in the cohesive strategy of the Forest Service. And like in Colorado, that's Front Range, you know, unfortunately, they've gotten a lot of money and they're wanting to put it there again. Now, you never know with the federal government, because sometimes, like, let's say those folks on the Front Range didn't get all the projects completed for whatever reason. A lot of things can happen, you know, contractors, you know, either don't bid on it or their equipment, you know, gets messed up and they just can't get the project done on time. So sometimes, like at the end of the fiscal year, we'll get a call from the Forest Service, a lot of times like on a Friday at 3 o'clock, like, we have $1 million, could you use it? You know, so something like that could happen, you know, or things could change, administration changes, there's different programs. So there could still be money, which is why we're doing things like writing that grant for the Wildfire Ready Action Plan. Because if we have that plan in place, even if we don't get federal funding, there's funding from the Colorado Water Conservation Board. Once we have that plan, then we can apply for some of that other CWCB funding and maybe get some projects done that will help both with reducing wildfire risk and reducing post-wildfire damage.
Thank you very much. A lot of good information here, a lot of good resources.
Yeah.
Just have to get the word out so that people
Right.
realize that it's there
Yeah.
and can use it. And like you pointed out, it'll save your house.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Lee, have you heard from the Western Slope Conservation Center? They're considering putting in yeah.
Yeah, they're also doing a wrap. Yeah, I have talked with them. Yeah, and they're also working on one in San Miguel County too. Yep.
And just from a partner standpoint, how do you see that partnership moving forward?
Well, we talked about, you know, providing letters of support for each other and just keeping in touch and making sure, you know, we're coordinating efforts. You know, the areas are close in some places, but they're not overlapping. So that kind of works out. Yeah.
Can you speak a little bit to the confidentiality of the homeowner assessments?
Sure. So, you know, with the wildfire ready risk assessments we have online, you know, we don't provide like, okay, this is this address or this is a certain person's home. We have that information, but we're not sharing that with the public. If, for example, Chris needs that data for some reason, we can provide it to him saying like, please don't share this out. But if you want to see where the highest risks are and you need a little more specific data, we can provide that. And when we're going to be working with the fire chiefs, same thing, they can get that data, but we're again saying like, don't share this out with the general public.
Because obviously you run into concern potentially that that information about a particular property was shared. It could be used against that property owner.
Right, by an
They
insurance
choose or they
company.
Cannot mitigate either by an HOA or actually that could be used by an insurance company.
Yeah, although, no, we haven't. And luckily now in Colorado, we have that bill that passed that says an HOA can't prevent someone from doing something that might be against their HOA rules if it's for wildfire mitigation. Yeah. Any other questions, comments?
No?
All right. Jamie, did you have anything you want to add?
Oh, just, yeah, thank you. I don't know if you guys can hear me. Jamie Gomez, I work with Liam, the Executive Director at West Region Welfare Council. Just wanted to thank you all for having us here today and thank you for your continued partnership. We really appreciate the opportunity to work with Delta County and all the partners, the fire districts and Forest Service, BLM, and many others throughout Delta County. Lots of work to do. I think we're proud of our accomplishments thus far, but we also recognize there's a ton of things we need to be continuing to work on. So thank you guys.
Yeah, thanks for your support. We really appreciate it.
You bet, thank you. Okay. Next up, 9:45 is the Board of Equalization, so we'll be in recess until 9:45. Okay, thank you. We're back on the record. We will reconvene for the Board of Equalization. Do we have any business for that?
No, Chairman, like the applications for here.
Okay. So having that noted and on the record, we'll adjourn the Board of Equalization meeting. And then we will reconvene at 10 o'clock for planning.
Perfect.
10 o'clock, are we ready? Okay. Welcome back, everybody. 10 o'clock, and now it is planning's portion of the meeting, so we'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Okay, so today we will start off with PLN 23-0022. Brow. This is to accept dedication of road right of way to Delta County for Ute Trail Road, totaling in 0.14 acres as a public road. The property is located on the south side of the Ute Trail Road in Cedar Ranch. Here you'll see the final plat. It is a minor plat to lot subdivision. Again, with the Ute Trail Road dedication totaling in 0.14 or 14 acres. With that, staff recommends that your board accept dedication for road right of way for Ute Trail Road as public road in the amount of 0.14 acres and authorize the chair to sign the final plat, and then do not believe that the applicant is here.
Okay.
Brittany, on the plat that's included in our package.
Mhm.
In the southeast corner of lot 1, it shows a split in the road, is that correct? And the white space there that
I believe that this was one of the projects, so
curious why that was, or topography driven.
I do know, isn't there a road or
There's a private road
a?
along along the east side of 1 and 2. And there is a funky little blue piece there too. The property line it's an irregular shape on lot 2. That's where you're talking, right?
Yeah.
In that area, yeah.
Okay. I have no other questions.
Then I'll move that the board accept the dedication of right of way to Delta County for PLN 23-022. U Trail Road of 0.14 acres.
Second.
Motion is second on the floor. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so done. Thank you. Next up,
Okay, the next project we have is project number 24-006 Hernandez. Again, to accept dedication of road right of way to Delta County for 1900 road, totaling in 1.147 acres as a public road. The property is located on the east side of 1900 road in Delta. Here you will see the final plat. It is for a minor plat, 2 acre subdivision. Here it is 1900 road. Dedication would total in 1.147 acres. There is a 60-foot shared access located at the top of this parcel. So with that, staff recommends that your board accept dedication of road right of way for 1900 road as public road in the amount of 1.147 acres and authorize the chair to sign the final plat. Mr. Hernandez is here.
Mr. Hernandez, are you comfortable with this and understand the process for this right of way?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I move the board accept the dedication of a right of way to Delta County for 1900 road at 1.147 acres as a public road. This property is on the east side of 1900 road in Delta for parcel number 345534300033 and authorize chair to sign the final plat.
Second.
motion is second on the floor. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, so done. Thank you. And you got another one.
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez.
Yep. Okay, so our next project is project 24-015 Ward. This is to accept dedication of road right of way to Delta County for Q25 road and 2600 road in the total amount of 1.963 acres as public road. The property is located on the north of Q25 and the west of 2600 road in Sea Ridge. Here you'll see the final plat. It's for a minor plat, 2 lot subdivision. The dedication is here in red, again totaling in 1.963 acres. With that, staff recommends that your board accept dedication of road right of way for Q25 road and 2600 road as public road in the amount of 1.963 acres and authorize the chair to sign the final plat, and Ms. Ward is here.
Would you like to say anything, Ms. Ward?
No, it's amazing what you do for your children. That's all I got to say. No doubt.
Those are words of wisdom.
I'll move the board accept the dedication of right of way to Delta County for Q25 road and 2600 road, totaling 1.963 acres as public roads. The property is located on the west side of 2600 road and the north side of Q25 road at Cedar Edge. Parcel number 319-327400001 and authorize the chair to sign the final plat.
Second.
Motion and second on the floor. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so done.
And then
Okay,
all right. This is for project number 24-036 Nichols. This is to accept dedication for road right of way to Delta County for Running Deer Road totaling in 1.001 acres as public road. The property is located on the west side of Running Deer Road in Orchard City. Here you will see the final plat. It is for a minor plat, 2-lot subdivision. The red indicates where the dedication will be for Running Deer Road, totaling in 1.001 acres. With that, staff recommends that your board accept dedication of road right of way for Running Deer Road as a public road in the amount of 1.001 acres and authorize the chair to sign the final plat. And Ms. Nichols is here.
Jennifer, do you have anything you want to add, or do you?
The
Un-
property is in Delta County,
Yes.
not Orchard City.
West of Orchard City, I think she meant to say, so.
Yeah.
And you're comfortable with the
Mhm.
dedication?
I'm good.
Okay. All right. And I'll move that the board accept the right-of-way dedication to Delta County for Running Deer Road, project number 24-036 Nichols, and authorize the chairman to sign.
Second.
motion and second on the floor. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, so done.
All right. So the last one we have today is continued from the meeting on the 6th of August. And this is PLN 23-056 Orchard Mesa Estates. Yeah, so we just had some stuff that we needed to get clarification on. County engineering, Tim Kraken is here. If you'd like to go from there.
The traffic count has been completed. It hasn't been analyzed yet. CDOT is requesting a CDOT permit for Running Deer Road there at the highway. And so we needed a baseline study. So that count has been completed, but analysis is not done yet.
So we, if everybody remember, Wendell was not here for that meeting. There was questions about the access permit, and there's actually two separate permits here. The one that the county and municipality are required to do for Running Deer entering the highway. For some reason, there was never a permit on that. And then secondly, the developer will have to file for a development permit through CDOT as a secondary portion of that. And that was the item that we were trying to straighten out at the last meeting. So I think we've got that all straightened out. The county's taking care of our side, and as one of the stipulations to the approval of the preliminary, it would be the developer's responsibility to get that access for the development through CDOT.
Correct.
Okay, and everybody's comfortable with that? Okay,
Okay.
all right. So we have a revised terms and conditions on that, basically just stipulating the change of the requirement for the developer. Other than that, everything else stayed the same on that. I will move that the board approve the preliminary plat for PLN 23-056 Orchard Mesa Estates.
Second.
Motion and second on the floor. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, so done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have the plats ready to sign?
I have 3 of the plats in the resolution.
Okay.
We just
Okay.
need one other track.
Next up is Human Services with Annie Gallegos and her crew at 10:30. So we will be in recess until 10:30. Welcome back, everybody. Next up is the Human Services with Annie Gallegos and her
But
crews.
before we do that, Chairman, we need to step back to planning. It seems I got ahead of myself. I know that's hard to believe. We approved the preliminary plat, PLN 23-056. That needs to be done by resolution. So I have the resolution here. And I will move that the board adopt resolution number 2024-R-16, a resolution conditionally approving a preliminary plat for PLN 23-056 Orchard Mesa Estates with phasing to subdivide 32.28 acres into 14 lots in the UGA zoning district located on the west side of Running Deer Road and along the north and south sides of Lilac Court, next to Orchard City.
Second.
Motion and second on the floor. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so done. Thank you. Now, Human Services, Annie Gallegos.
Good morning, everyone. I have Chris Stewart here. So today we're actually going to start, instead of starting with the financials, which we'll go into after, but we are going to start with our partnership with Reachwell and what that looks like as we go into the launch for Delta County Human Services and the alerts. Do you want to talk about your work with it?
Yeah, that's background. So the commissioners are aware that when we launched Delta County Alerts in 2023, I started reaching out. I met Zubin Bastani, who's the founder and CEO of Reachwell, who's based in Denver at one of the emergency management conferences. And he pitched his software at the way of being able to keep whole communities engaged and outreach. He founded Reachwell in the schools as a way for the urban schools to communicate with people that don't speak. It's an app that translates messaging pushed out by the schools or county governments into up to 150 different languages. Or there's dashboards that can be used. So I partnered with them in 2023 and I've been using it since then. It's tied to Delta County Alerts for emergency alerts so that the system will do English and Spanish if we remember to click on the Spanish translate button. And sometimes dispatchers forget to do that. So the benefit is that by tying Reachwell into the emergency alert system, that if someone doesn't speak English or Spanish, they can get the alert in their native language so they can understand what's going on. So that's been invaluable for whole community outreach in that way. And then they're also partnering now with other counties in Colorado, Garfield, Pitkin, San Miguel, Boulder, Larimer, Jackson, Teller, and El Paso counties also utilize it for emergency alerts. And then they've approached us to bring Human Services on board to utilize for other county outreach and then all the good work that Human Services do for people that don't speak English, because then we're not putting extra burden on staff members to translate stuff into Spanish or Burmese. You could have some of the Korean population here or any other language. We do have some people that have downloaded the app and translate stuff into French and German, as well as Spanish. The benefit of Reachwell versus other systems, even Delta County Alerts for both of us, is they don't have to register any personal information. It's a download on their phone. They select their language that they want. It defaults to English, but then if you need another language, you change it to your native language. And then you just search like social media and follow whatever groups you want to follow. So you can follow Delta County Alerts, Delta County Human Services, Pitkin County, other partners in the county. School district is not on board with them yet. They keep talking to the school district, trying to get them on board. But then they just follow and they get all alerts. So it's another tool in our tool bag. For me, That's a way of pushing out notifications to people. They get it regardless of where they live. So if they don't have a constant cell phone, some people in this county can't afford to pay a cell phone bill, so they just have Wi-Fi calling only. So they can go to the library and use the cell phone, and if they're on Wi-Fi, they can make calls, so they can still get it. If they change devices, or there's people that don't trust the government, they don't want to register personal information. So this still allows them to get information.
So Human Services has joined. There are several other human services departments in counties. Eagle and Douglas are preparing their launch as well. The Migrant Coalition is also going to be joining their channel and launching hopefully soon as well. But it does translate to 135 languages, and it allows for the individual to subscribe to the channel, but also subscribe to programs within the channel. So if they only want to prescribe to SNAP or Medicaid or child welfare or adult protection, they can just subscribe to those things and not receive every message that goes out. But thinking about as things have continued to change with the unwind and updates and notifications, being able to reach out to the community to let them know when those changes have occurred and what action they need to take, or say our phones go down for 2 days or the state system goes down for 2 days, being able to outreach and be able to provide that direct line is essential for us. And so we have been working hard for messaging. There'll be a QR code. We will be sending out information within the school districts next month. So that'll go through to the email notifications they send, but also flyers within the Tuesday folders that go home for the school district as well. So we'll be promoting it that way and do an official launch with all stakeholders at this September meeting that we hold in the community. Any questions for us about that?
Is there a cost associated with this? I'm not understanding.
There is, each of us pay for a channel, let's say 8,000 a year.
Less, I think mine was 4.
I think 4 is what I paid to. So about 8,000 total for the 2 channels per year.
We use grant funding for that.
And how many citizens would this benefit or be available to?
It can be, anybody can download it. It's
But who would use this service? This translation service, how many?
So I think within our community, we would definitely be outreaching to the Spanish speaking community, as long as the Migrant Coalition coming on as well, so they'll be able to see both channels. And then I think there'll be hopefully some outreach within the schools, which we're trying to do to capture the Karen families for the Burmese language. And then we have had a few French and Russian, so.
Like I said, it doesn't have to be just for translated if people want it in English. It's just a way of having an app that we can push notifications to people's phones. So that's one thing why I've been slow to roll out a heavy push with emergency management for this, just because Reachwell has a lot of training materials and they provide us a lot of marketing support, but it's got a lot of support driven towards schools and only foreign language speakers. And we want to make sure that people that just speak English can utilize the app too, because it's good alerts for human services. As Eagle County uses it, I follow them. Granted, they have I-70, but anytime there's road closures or detours or issues with water, stuff like that's pushed out through the app. So if we can get people following it on their phones, anytime we have anything like that, we can utilize that too, rather than just Facebook, because there's a lot of our, especially senior population, is not on Facebook.
We can also advertise for community events. So when we do our child abuse prevention, that can be a part of it. If we decide to partner with any other, like if we partner with Region 10 to do Elder Awareness Month, those types of things, we can also outreach in multiple ways.
Logistically, it ties in with our existing system, or is it going to be dual inputs, dual outputs?
The only thing for my side, it's just they click a button. So it's just the dispatchers remembering to click an RSS feed. That's how it populates Reachwell. So they don't have to do, it's actually easier to click that at the start than it is to go through and translate. Genesis, which powers Delta County Alerts, have translation features built in, but you gotta craft the entire message in English and then remember to switch to a different screen to translate it, and sometimes dispatchers get in a hurry and they forget to do that. For system, you just click the output right at the beginning, and Evan and I are working on templates that already have it pre-populated, so I don't have to do anything. And they'll have a dashboard that they can go in and do their messaging direct, just kind of like a Facebook web portal where you go in and create a message just like an email.
Right.
Send it.
Right, and so once we hit send the message out, it automatically translates it to that language for that individual.
So, minimal effort on our.
Very good.
Always nice to have grant funding for programs like that, not an unfunded mandate.
Especially with the translation piece and all of the ADA pieces.
Oh,
and things
yeah.
like that, I think it'll be helpful for us as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, next we will. Next we'll move into financial.
Payables. For approval report, nothing fancy, very boring month, which we like in financial. We're nothing, if you look at the budget, we're at 40%. And we're supposed to be at 50, so we're still trending just under what we're pushing. Which is good. The big jump from last month to June is just the $115,000 grant, which Annie talked about last year with Hilltop. Do you have any questions? Tables?
And that grant.
You said it's going away?
It did, yes, so it ran fiscal year for state fiscal year, and so they terminated the agreements for every county. We're hoping they bring it back. It was one of the governor's WIG's wildly important goals, and so that was where that grant stemmed from. It funded the housing navigator position through Hilltop, and so that was the housing coordination pieces that we did all last year to support housing options. Hilltop is still running the program in a way. They're just not as funded through the grant money as. They're still doing.
Okay.
We did have a little funding for Leads Reach, which we're gonna make a postcard that has an English side and a Spanish side. And we partnered with GIS and the assessor's office actually to figure out areas to specifically send those mail outs to for, you know, like around their income.
Good, good idea. Thank you.
I think our intention also with some of that funding is, I believe we talked about last year, but that allows one of our staff to be able to provide relief assistance when they get denials. So what was happening is we made our incentive goal for this last year. Do you remember the numbers on that? I think it was, we had like 15% denials the year before, and we moved it to 7%. Wasn't it?
It was, putting me on the spot.
Sorry.
It was supposed to be how many of the denials we were able to reverse. Or how many denials last year versus this, because I know she was contacting specific denials for pieces she could help with, to where they would then get approved. And I think it went from 15 to 7. I think it went to 7.
Yeah.
This year.
Yeah, so we were able to increase, which could be as simple as a verification, a income statement, just a simple paper that they weren't able to upload or had trouble uploading, so.
And then there was a 2% increase in applicants for the LEAP program last year.
Their benchmarks.
We're getting steps ahead for this year. So there might be more this year.
Yeah. Any questions on financials before we move on?
I have one.
Yeah.
On single entry point, we're running at 85.2%, which is well above where we should be.
Oh, that is because single entry point was only budgeted for January, February, March, when that program ended. So it says we've reached it because we did for those 3 months, but there should not be any more targets to that program for the rest of the year.
Thank you, Nicole.
All right, the next item we have is the school district contract. And that one is through our TANF program. So Lori, explain a little bit.
This is, it's been an ongoing contract that we've had with the school district for the Grand Mesa Academy, where they provide, adult literacy, adult education for at-risk youth and young adults, or adults, not young. It's just a collaboration we've had with them for several years. This year's renewal actually increases by about $11,000, $11,400. They did kind of change things up a little bit as far as the budget goes, but mainly it's for our teachers that are providing.
And we've seen a little bit of a steady throughout the years, just with cost of living and things.
Prior year, it had been 15,000. This year it did go down a little bit, but it's still an increase for the entire contract. And they track all the individuals that are going through the program that meet the TANF guidelines, $75,000 per year guideline, and meet that piece of it. So then they provide us with monthly reports of students that are enrolled in the programs, how they're doing, which programs they're enrolled in. They also work with job skills and social skills as part of that program.
What's the age range of people?
It varies between probably youth and high school age to adults in their 20s maybe.
How many teachers are?
They have two teachers, one full-time. Yeah, they have one teacher that's full-time and
So a certified teacher, a classified instructor, and a high school equivalency teacher is who we fund. And then the school district funds the principal, administrative assistants, the licensed counselor and certified teachers, 3.4 other certified teachers, a Title I funded teacher, and a classified para. And then they provide the maintenance, utilities, rent, and space. So we're just funding those 3 positions from the program.
as well as supplies and the curriculum that they use for the programs.
The adult literacy.
Very good. And I'll move that the board renew the contract for and authorize the chairman to sign the IGA between Delta County Department of Human Services and the Delta County School District regarding the temporary assistance for needy families program. This is for contract amount of $195,455. Duration of August 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025.
Can we add authorize Annie Gallegos as Director of Human Services too? She's on that.
Yeah, also authorize Annie Gallegos to sign.
I'll second.
Motion and second on the floor. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. So done. Thank you.
The next approval plan is the state approval of our core plan. And so we're in our 3rd year, and we submit every year, but they have them in 3-year cycles, so not sure why they do that, but that's fine. So the core plan is, that is our funding for all of the therapeutic and life skills services that we provide through child welfare. We do have some county designed programs, so the 2 is we continue to help support Drug-Free Delta County, who oversees the family drug court and the adult criminal drug court. So we help fund some of the supportive services that those programs. Currently, we have 6 adults in the family treatment court program. So, which we had 0 for about 2 months' time as they were finishing up their handbook and designating some new policies and procedures. And now that those are up and running, we have individuals that are now participating in that program actively and receiving those supportive services. The other county design program we do is also with the Delta School District. But it encompasses the county. We provide a behavioral coach and 2 counselors within the school to help fund those positions so that youth in the North Fork and Delta area have access to therapeutic services on site within schools. The other functions of the core plan are where we get to determine how much we think we're going to budget between services. So mentoring has a percentage, mental health services has a percentage, substance abuse services has a percentage, and we guesstimate within there based on last year's numbers of what we think we're going to spend in the next year. But it allows us to allocate those funds for those services for youth. It also does fund what we call PA3 or our prevention program. So currently we have about, I want to say 40 to 50, maybe it's up to 60 now, but 40 to 50 40 kiddos that receive services, therapeutic services that Medicaid cannot pay for in our community. They would not have access to them otherwise. So we do have a large number of providers that have therapeutic services, whether it's mental health or substance abuse or say play therapy, but the families may or may not have, they don't have Medicaid, or Medicaid won't pay for that certain service. And so for prevention services, we do those funding to support those individuals as well. So that comes out of this plan as well. So it's large and long, sorry about that, but we break down the percentage and that way you can see all of our county design programs, but then also all of the services that we're providing on a regular basis. We do also have a regional contract for core services that is within the 7th Judicial District. And so that actually does also pay for some mental health and substance abuse services throughout the year that then doesn't get billed to this contract. And that's regionally shared between the counties.
You mentioned student services in North Fork and the Delta area. What about the Surface Creek?
So right now, that position is being funded by the school district. So those they just aren't using our funds for that position.
Okay, very good.
Danny, is that an action item?
It is.
Yes.
Yeah,
And you
on
have,
the second page.
you have a contract?
I do. And, okay, so I will send this around for the signature. The question is, last year they sent it on DocuSign, and I don't know if they're gonna do that again this year, so you may be signing twice. So we originally thought they were gonna send it that way, and we uploaded a page last year, DocuSign year before.
Well, I move the board approve the core services plan. And this core services will be for the contract period June 1, 2024 through May 31, 2025. And includes the following: a statement of insurances, program description, information on fees, overhead costs, state board summary, 100% funding summary, and a final budget page. Authorize Annie Gallegos as Director of Human Services and Mike Lane as Chair of the Board of County Commissioners to sign.
I'll second.
Motion and second on the floor. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so done.
Thank you. The last part, I'll just review some highlights from our board notes. The CCAP rates were submitted to the state. We sent out a flyer and we are working with the school district to make sure that that is advertised as much as possible for individuals to know that the eligibility criteria has changed. And so we're hoping to cover more. We talked about it a little bit last week, probably the summer EBT program did issue those benefits. So if you're eligible for SNAP benefits through services and you have children in the home, they submitted the summer EBT. So there's that extra benefit. Do you know the amount? 120 per child? So those have been released. The appeals continue to increase. We're working with the state. A lot of what people unfortunately are appealing is part of their eligibility determinations, but they may not be eligible anymore just because things have changed. And as PHE has ended, they haven't had to report for 2 years. That's a significant change for them. So some of those appeals are generated from that, and that's a little bit of a workload issue because we're having to prepare the packet of why they're not eligible. We're having to prepare, go to a hearing, to do different things. It's not anything that can be challenged other than that's just the rule at the landscape. The most exciting part of today is we are going to be acknowledging child support this week. It's Child Support Awareness Month. And so we did talk about it, I think, last month that Child Support had its conference and they were recognized again for meeting all of their CSTAT measures for 2023. They also received Distinguished Performer for Medium County again. And so they're getting cupcakes, and we will have display their plaques tomorrow about 2:30ish. And so I will send out an email this afternoon to finalize. If you guys would like to come over and recognize staff, I'm sure they appreciate it. So, and wear green. That's the color.
We're green, huh? Okay.
Your shoes, the match.
I was gonna say, could be a challenge.
Another thing I gotta worry about.
That's right, that's right. No green cowboy boots.
Yeah.
We did the differential response kickoff meeting this last month. We have 2 more trainings to complete, and then really they hit the switch within the trail system. They'll be able to start activating that caseload, being able to participate in all the elements, which includes engaging with families more and partnering with them in the beginning. So again, it's a little bit of a shift in the dynamics of how child welfare has met the needs of the community, but we're hoping to be able to reach out to families earlier and engage with them for prevention services and partner with them for safety rather than a position where we're telling them or we're holding them accountable to safety, right? We're trying to partner with them and engage in that way. It is interesting in child welfare though that the referrals rose by 36% in that last month, which we haven't really figured out the trend yet. I'm not sure what that is because usually we have a little bit of a low in the summer and then it's August, right? Is when we get more referrals. So to have a 36% increase in July was interesting for us. Not sure, but we did have some pretty intensive cases, which isn't the norm for us in the summer. So we can do that.
Are we thinking maybe inflation's finally hitting households and
stress?
Stress.
Yeah, it could be. You know, part of, and I would, you know, I'd say it's spread out across the board of the types of referrals that came in. So it wasn't just one type, and that has been hard to determine of just when you're trying to look at that trend, what does that look like? One of the things that we do see is that the referrals are just more intensive rather than being referrals of I have bad feelings about this kiddo, right? And because I have my eyes on them all the time and I have a feeling something's happening. You get those referrals, but these are more intensive of now something has happened and it's much more reactive because you didn't get the feelings referral beforehand, right? So the team has absorbed it. It's been brought for working on potentially looking at secondary trauma options. We used to have a trainer from the state, and he would come every 90 days and do just debriefing and do some secondary trauma work, and that was funded by the state. And that service has gone away. So we're looking at what those options could be. And honestly, looking at how can we partner those options with some of our eligibility staff. We have some staff that have had some very frustrated individuals in our building, and our eligibility staff has not had a lot of professional growth in what secondary trauma is, what that looks like, how to move through that. They've had some conflict resolution pieces, but not necessarily just take care of yourself when those things happen. So we're exploring those options for both. And last but not least, adult protection, we have posted for a lead and a caseworker. We have one position to fill, but depending on who we got as applicant wise and possibly internal wise, we are looking for a lead eventually. But if either way, if we have a caseworker and we don't hire a lead, we're just going to kind of play with what those We have one position open and our numbers have continued to grow. They are at capacity at this time and we need a third caseworker. So we have posted that as of last week. That's, I think, it for today. Any questions?
Annie, how is the staffing levels overall?
So, child welfare is fully staffed. Adult protection, we're hoping to be fully staffed. Child support, we are down 1. And eligibility is at 50% staffing. Yeah, 6 positions. We had 2 people in the TANF case manager position. One stepped down to very reduced hours as part of retirement. And then that left 2 open positions. And of course, internal positions went that way. So now we're backfilling that way. And we got, they were qualified individuals because there's a part of knowing so much about eligibility to then go into the next step of now case managing with those same services. So there's some quality applicants there, and then we're hiring. We have seen steady applicants though. It isn't like we aren't receiving them. So Lori's doing interviews a lot. So
At least you have people to interview, right?
It's just hard to have too many new people because of the training.
Right.
We have 1 trainer, and then once they're able to start processing, we have to review cases. That takes time.
So hiring all 6 at the same time would probably make Lori hate me. So we're working through that. Anything else?
We miss seeing Michelle.
Huh?
We miss seeing Michelle.
Oh, Lynette. Michelle. Oh, great. Oh my gosh. Talked to her in a while.
We've forgotten already.
Yeah. It's been a little bit. I did talk to her a little bit ago. I think they're at the same stress level. I think the issues that they were having with the technology programs when CCM rolled out has still been difficult for the case managers. And so there's still some stress there. But Nicole got to see her a little bit and some of the staff when she went up there. So, Lynn had a vacation for a little while. And so Nicole, she volunteered. But yeah, so she got to see her a little bit and I think they're doing well. They're utilizing the space as they can. I think there's still some growth, a little bit of paper and what's not paper for them, and that's a big difference.
There's no issues with the space or anything, the building is working out okay?
Yeah, as far as I know, we have finished up those pieces of securing completely what is theirs and what is our space here, and so been able to navigate that. And then we've sent up, most recently, we're gonna, I think it's that aluminum metal bookcase that's in the Rubado room there, might be a good, Brian and I were talking about that, maybe going there for their supply closet, because the main supply closet was on that side. So,
Okay.
working on little things like that, but other than that,
Well, thanks to you and your crew for all you do, especially like say school time starts and you see those cases and it's gotta be gut wrenching, some of them, I'm sure.
it's hard, the staff they work really hard, and sometimes that's where, how we need to figure out how we can always best support them, so those are little internal things I think we try to do of how do we meet their needs too.
Mhm.
And a lot of times I just like to feed them, so they don't have to worry about some of those things during the day, right? So, but yeah, so if you can come by tomorrow, cupcakes and green, but I'll send you an email confirmation.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Any balance.
No, and one left. And then the other one, it says human services on it with a sticky. I did not write it. I don't know who wrote that on there. So. I know.
The judicial blocked up. Donald's gonna call.
Barry will be very mad at me.
I'm already on the list, so.
Is there anything else that needs to come before the board? Okay, if not, we'll go ahead and stand adjourned. Thank you.